God's original plan, polygamy and monogamy. So, what does the Bible say about it? All right, let's break it down. John chapter 1, verses 1 to 2. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Breakdown: in the beginning was the Word. Think of the Word as a special message or idea that has always been around right from the very start. And the Word was with God. This special message was hanging out with God, and the Word was God. And guess what? This message wasn't just with God, it was actually God. He was with God in the beginning. This Word, who is a he here, has always been there with God from the very start. John 1:14. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Breakdown: the Word became flesh. That special message, the Word turned into a real person and made his dwelling among us. This person came to live with us right here on earth. We have seen his glory. People saw how amazing and special he was. The glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father. This person is super special because he's the one and only Son of God, sent from God the Father, full of grace and truth, and he was full of kindness and honesty. Imagine an amazing message that was always there, hanging out with God and actually being God. This message became a real person and moved into our neighborhood. We gotta see how awesome he is, like the coolest person ever, because he's God's one and only Son, bringing tons of kindness and truth to everyone. Now let's go on to God's original plan. All right, y'all, let's kick things off with the basics. In the beginning, God set us up for a monogamous life. When he made Adam and Eve, it was one man and one woman. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 lays it out. A man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh. That's the OG plan. One man, one woman, united as one. Things get complicated. But then, life got messy. Sin came into the picture, populations grew, and laws changed. People started practicing polygamy. God wasn't really down with it, but he allowed it under certain circumstances. Let's take a look at some of the big players. Abraham started with Sarah, but then had a child with Hagar too. This led to some serious family drama, and Hagar and her son Ishmael got sent away. Jacob had 2 wives, Leah and Rachel, plus their maidservants Bilhah and Zilpah. This caused major rivalry and jealousy, turning his family into a hotbed of tension. David had several wives like Michal, Abigail, and Bathsheba. His multiple marriages led to chaos and rebellion within his family. Solomon took it to the extreme with 700 wives and 300 concubines. His many wives turned him away from God, leading to worshiping other gods, and ultimately, God decided to tear the kingdom from Solomon's family. God's stance on polygamy. Even though God allowed polygamy at times, it wasn't his ideal plan. By Moses' time, the 7th commandment was in place. You shall not commit adultery, Exodus 20:14. This command was all about loyalty and faithfulness in marriage. God also set some ground rules to keep things in check, like in Deuteronomy 17:17, which warns kings not to have too many wives, or their hearts might turn away from God. He allowed it, but it wasn't the best plan for us. Fast forward to Solomon's time, and God started pulling back on his approval of polygamy. Solomon's heart got led astray by his many wives, leading to big-time consequences for his kingdom. In the New Testament, Jesus and Paul set the record straight. Jesus said in Matthew 19, verses 4 to 6, "At the beginning, the Creator made them male and female, and said, 'For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh.'" One man, one woman, united as one, that's the goal. Paul backed this up in his letters, telling church leaders to be the husband of one wife, 1 Timothy 3, 2 and 12, Titus 1, 6. No multiple wives if you're leading the flock. It's all about setting a good example and keeping things simple. Let's not forget what Paul dropped in 1 Corinthians 10:23. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible, but not everything is constructive. NIV. This means that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should not. Everything is good for us or helps build us up. So why does all this matter? Relationships are tough enough without extra drama. God's guiding us to keep it simple. Be loyal, be real, and keep the love alive with one person. From the start, God's plan was monogamy, but due to sin and changing times, things got complicated. However, the ideal of one man and one woman remained the goal. Let's learn from the stories of Abraham, Jacob, David, and Solomon. When they strayed from God's ideal, they faced serious consequences. But with Jesus and Paul's teachings, we're reminded to stick to one love and live faithfully. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Remember, keep it simple, keep it loyal, and keep it true. That's the way to live a drama-free and love-filled life.